We've been holding the village of Yorbakas and the bridge for weeks now. It's becoming impossible to sleep at night with the Heinkels overhead. We can't have lights or fires up, but still they're blindly bombing us. During the day, we hear the mines go off where they push the bridge again, and those who get through we have to take on with machine guns from our end. It's mostly Austrians and Dutch these days. They get close enough for us to distinguish their uniforms. Thank God for the Indians. If it wasn't for the 37th, we would have lost the bridge. They're fearless and have driven the Austrians back more than once with their counterattacks. We even have the famous mountaineers of the 5th helping out now, but there's just no end to them, and the dive bombers screaming down at us prevent any kind of effective defense until they're on top of us. The combat engineers have started building sheds outside town and make them look like an army camp. The Germans have bombed it a few times, but we keep rebuilding it. We'll see how long they're falling for that. There's radio chatter that the Air Force will be back, and that we might get reinforcements from the 6th Army too. I don't know how true, but we'll hold out no matter what. They won't break us that easily. Despite the reinforcements and our troops trying to dig in and us trying to complete the fortifications, we're just getting bombed from the air viciously. At this point, they have over 1,000 close air support planes and almost 300 heavy bombers up in the air. So I believe it is time, despite the fact that the Air Force has not been fully reconstituted, it is time to once again bring the Air Force into the Baltic states and begin contesting them here. So we now actually have the Riga Air Base as well. We'll launch out of Vilnius, and we'll bring the other wings over and launch from here. And we'll bring everything to bear for aerial superiority in order to help out the soldiers on the ground. Simply because, we don't want the situation to get worse. I'm also going to divert to the 4th and the 6th of the 6th Army, and they will help out with the defense. The rest of the line is holding. It's a problem of this particular sector, which where the fortifications haven't finished in time. So unfortunately, we are seeing steady German assaults there. Other than that, we have the African troops, which are still on the move, and we have an opportunity there to deal a bit of a blow to the Reichspakt states in Africa. France is almost back under Republican control, and Spain is about to fall. Italy might still be able to hold as long as they can hold the line near Rome. We know how difficult it is to break these defenses unless they're pushing through in the east. But if they can hold this line here, this is very, very hard to break from the north. So that we will see how that goes. If you've missed it, I had a look what Japan is up to, and Japan is a mess. They're trying to do a full field army naval invasions from Taipei, which doesn't make an awful lot of sense. It does make some sense, but it would have been much better for them to land in the north. Which, to be fair, they have tried before. But the bigger problem is that the Japanese Navy is sailing around somewhere in the southern Indian Ocean, completely out of fuel, and as such, they don't have the naval supremacy to actually launch these landings, even if they manage to get them completely planned out. Anyway, there is still. There's still wars going on in South America. Brazilian troops are being cut off here, and we still don't know what the United States of America are eventually going to do. There might be a possibility of the Americans considering us to be a threat, but so far nothing's really happened. So we'll deal with that situation when we get to it. That said, with a potential conflict looming, with Japan not really getting anywhere in the Pacific, and the United States becoming more and more assertive, as in they have pushed their bases all the way there already. They have retaken Hawaii. There might be potentially threat on the horizon in the long run. Either way, it means that at some point we may have to we may have to do a bit more on the naval side. Now, the improved heavy hull is actually not a particularly hard research to do. So I might, after all, divert a second slot into getting a new capital ship of some sort, probably a battle cruiser, underway, and we will see if we can. Because currently we're refitting the really old ships, which is gonna take a while, but should still be faster than building a new one, especially once we get the advanced equipment conversion through. But that said, we might need to divert a little bit into the Navy, but the primary effort still goes into currently the Air Force and the forces on the ground, because we are going to need tank divisions if we are to retake the initiative. Talking about tank divisions, they are currently assaulting us relatively aggressively along the line here, but they're not getting very far due to the heavy fortifications, and that seems to be holding for now. Of course, now they will have some air support over Ukraine, because and obviously they do have aerial superiority over Belarus, but the lines in Belarus, I believe, are mostly holding, and especially this position here is under heavy assaults. But they are, because they're attacking from multiple directions, and I think the fortification, no, it's a level 5 fort, but they're attacking from multiple directions, which makes it less effective, which means that this position here is increasingly difficult to hold. If we have to fall back from here, it's not the end of the world, because we have a fortified fallback line here in the worst case, but I prefer not to. We're trying to hold the lines here, and we still have the 14th Army, which is currently recovering from their taking of Riga, which at some point can come in as well. But for now, let's have a look and see how this particular assault is going. These should be, the problem is that they're constantly reinforcing with fresh troops. So even though our troops are relatively dug in relatively well, they are in need of reinforcements to actually manage to hold the lines here. So that's why we're bringing the tank divisions in, which aren't on the line right now. But we will see if we can bring a bit of relief. Now, how does that look in the air? Okay, so they have immediately retracted their bombers with the Russian Air Force showing up. We do have a relatively good air detection from the radar stations. What's our radar? We've got level 2 radar in here. And it's a level 1 radar up there north. So we've got a reasonably good air coverage, much better air detection than them. So we know where they're coming and can interdict them quite successfully. And that said, we are still, this is all mostly modern Focke-Wulf 190s that we're fighting here, but we're doing pretty well. Where have they diverted? Yeah, they've diverted their bombers all to Belarus. So, but we'll have relieved the Baltics for now, and we'll keep at that. But we have to keep a closer eye now on any attacks in Belarus, which are going to come under increased air attacks here, which is going to weaken the lines actually quite significantly. Yeah, they're looking to retake Grodno. That's why they have actually no. That's in the northern air zone. So there's currently no combat going on here, but Grodno as well is one of those areas that is potentially under threat. I might actually bring some tanks there just defensively, and I'll go along the front line here, just to help out with the defenses against the lines. Now, are the tanks actually? No, currently it's the mountain divisions that are fighting, because the rest of some of the other troops are getting pushed back. The Indians have been pushed back there, but the question is, can we, with the air situation now cleared, I think we can defeat this assault much more easily. So let's switch to the Grodno front, where we are retreating from a German assault, and we're facing a relatively heavy bombardment there. But not much going on in the Belarusian air zone. Ukraine has now some assaults, obviously, but they don't have many planes there. So they're looking more at trying to destroy our logistics again. But we're hunting them at this point, although we're hunting the fighters at this point. So most of the enemy fighters are stationed in the north, trying to clear the air for their bombers once more. But we have a almost 1-to-4 kill. Sorry, no, it's a 1-to-3 kill death ratio. So it's still not great, but it's better than nothing. We've got a free division. I have no idea what army I was assigning that to. Oh yeah, we're building a few more of the regular. I think I wanted them for port guard duties and similar things. So we'll assign them. We've got some foreign divisions here. We will assign them for now to additional port guard troops, because we are holding increasingly long lines, and we are going to have to make sure that everything is secured. We could also assign them to the 11th. That might actually make more sense. Let me. Which one was it? This one. Let me actually add that to the. Let me add that to the 11th Army, and reassign to the Northern Defense here, just in case anything goes sideways. We can always pull this in as reinforcements if we see concentrated assaults. Talking about which, where are the German panzers? Okay, they have been beaten back quite successfully. Let's have a quick look. Wow, they have lost. The losses on the enemy side are pretty significant. So these are the main battles here that have been raging. So it's significant losses on our side. Actually had an Indian general taking the lead here, but higher losses on the enemy side. I was more interested to see where they were attacking us in the south. Nope, not sure which one it was. Anyway, we have beaten them back. We are seeing sporadic assaults here, but nothing major. So Grodno is the next hotspot, and we will have to see that we can push back the German assaults here and give the troops some time to recover, because the attack is not great. Part of that is weather, part of that's combat width as well. But the amount of attack that we get in is not great. But if we can get the tanks involved, they should be able to hold that a little bit longer, because the Germans are simply cycling. So they just keep throwing troops at this, and the same here in the north. Although this is significantly fewer troops now. So we are getting the reinforcements we need, and we are okay. They're trying to bomb again, but they are more distributed now, and not focusing that heavy on the Baltic. So I think with that we can actually probably sustain that, although I don't like these losses here on our side. We do have the better mission efficiency, but I think we can probably do have the command power. Yes, I think I'm going to get an extra 10% mission efficiency. That brings us to 97%, and that should help. That should help us against the enemy incursions. All right, we do actually have some friendly planes from the Indian Federation now starting to take on craft in the Ukrainian zone, and we obviously have bombing of our rear lines in Belarus, but our air force can only be at one place at the same time, unfortunately, because we simply don't have enough. Right, another division. I might actually just get that whole line. Where's the training line? And I wanted these to be part of the. Where's the 11th? There's the. No, is that the one I wanted? No, not the. Oh, this is part of the 11th Army. Okay, so then we'll just do it by hand. So we'll backfill the 11th Army troops, and deploy these north. Just to reinforce the lines, and then with the rest of the divisions, we'll see what we do with them. Might convert them into something else, actually, to be honest. Okay, the last of Höppner's attacks here, without the Air Force assaulting, I think they are somewhat more struggling to get here. Now the tanks are drawing additional supply out, which is something I'm keenly aware of, but we are looking okay-ish in terms of supply actually at this point. We are making our way through the supply lines, so I think we are getting reasonably soon to the point that the forward bases are relatively well supplied and that we can operate out of them. 2 more ace pilots, so we can tick these off. And the question becomes, what am I going to do next with the political power? To be honest, we have obviously medals to give. We could at some point get back to some of the economic projects as well. And we can, what else is there? Yeah, there are a few things for war support, because our war support's down to 65%. So I think that might actually be the next one. I will have to work on, because it's the combat casualties and the enemy bombing that is causing us grief here. So the situation on air and ground is definitely not conducive towards the general appreciation of the public of what we are up to. These troops, and they are once more, they have once more left the trains behind. So can we get them here by railway, please? Yep, that worked. Okay. So troops are back on the railway. Oof, heavy attacks are along the whole line. Anything substantial? Yeah, these are Austrian tanks. But we'll beat these back without too much trouble. Mostly the Austrians. This is where the. I thought this was where the German panzers were mostly sitting, but yeah, small attacks that get defeated reasonably quickly along the lines, and but they're still pushing hard against the positions in the north here, where we are running a little low on supply, but I think we're starting to stabilize the lines. That would be good in general. Now we're getting a larger number of ace pilots than I can actually deploy. Did we have something regarding... no, it's just the aircrew surveys. We could... And the veteran air instructors for combat losses. So I am trying to maintain a high level of quality. And yeah, we're already taking noticeable losses again, as you can see. These are all down to like close to 90%. But we're trying to maintain... We're trying to maintain experience as much as possible, and to get them up to veteran air status, because that's giving us additional bonuses. But it is a difficult fight here against the enemy, and our kill-death ratio is definitely not improving here at this point. So the Focke-Wulfs are definitely on par with our latest aircraft, the I-185S. How far are we away from the next airframe? The 19th. Yeah, we're two years ahead of time, so we're not going to see any improvements there really. It's just be a question of if we can improve anything around the design of these things. I don't necessarily think so. So I mean, we do have one more slot available to us here. But what do we have? We've got armor plates, we've got the drop tanks, and we've got the engine. We could employ self-sealing fuel tanks, which would up the air defense quite a bit. But it would cost an additional rubber for the production. So right now, let's have a look on what that looks like. Right now, we're taking a 23 rubber, which is going to go up to 30 rubber, and we have 25 rubber excess at this point. So we could probably, well, not quite, but we could probably sustain that. So if we build up, do we have a research available on the industry for that? This is still ahead of time. So we would probably have to either import, or can we trade for rubber with anybody? We could trade, that's not an awful lot. We could trade with Siam, but There's not much rubber available. Most of it is kept by Germany. So we may have to build an additional synthetic refinery that gives 4 rubber. But it might be worth doing this just to get the survivability up of our aircraft, because it's not bad, but it could be better. And the problem, I think we are also. Hang on, can I actually even do this? No, I can't. I would need a level 4 engine. Okay, so the only thing we could do is we could trade out the armor plates for self-sealing fuel tanks, but that would be a slight improvement on range, defense, and agility for an extra rubber. So it's a very slight improvement, but I would prefer to actually have it on top of it. Yeah. Plus, we would lose the production efficiency on the factories once more, which I am trying to really get up, because we'll try to produce our way out of this if we possibly can. So and try to get more factories onto that. All right, a few more divisions available. Can we get that? That would go on the European theater. We've got 2 more that we can put on the 11th. And that last division as well. We'll send them for now. Do we need additional troops near Finland is a good question. I might actually, given the importance of Petrograd, I might actually send a few here to the front line. So we've got another division incoming. So I think we can send another one. We might divert one from here. Just to make sure that we are properly defending Petrograd, because that's a location we cannot possibly lose. So we'll just reinforce that a bit, and we'll see how that goes. All right, how are the assaults coming along here? Tanks are still, I believe, in reserve, so they're not doing an awful lot. But the infantry for now is holding, and it looks like they have figured out to bring the reinforcements back instead of going elsewhere. Grodno is still under heavy assaults. They're very well dug in, so it's very hard to actually do any damage against them, and they're not in an air zone where they're actually bombing us, which is Belarus. But they're bringing more and more fighters now north, trying to grind down the Russian Air Force, and we can't sustain that forever. So while we have a better mission efficiency and better air detection, they are starting to, and we still have our kill-death ratio is below 1 to 2 at this point. So there's still a few, and we're starting to lose trains in Ukraine. I think that was a one-off, because they have brought additional aircraft there. Yes. Okay, one more for the. And for the 11th Army, and then we can then we can see where we bring the rest of the troops. Might throw them in with the 10th maybe for the time being, just to assist with things here. All right, Grodno, we're starting to engage the tanks now. The question is, they can actually do a fair amount of damage to the light tanks at this point. So that's another thing that we eventually need to deal with. All right, we do need to deal with the war support, however, because that is going to become an issue sooner rather than later. So that would be either exhort heroism or bolster spirits. This would just give us. We could do radio propaganda. That would just give us 5% base war support, or the film industry for 10% base war support. That might actually not be bad, simply because the propaganda is a bit cheaper, and we'll see how well that goes. We do have a bit of air experience. Let me have a quick look if we are complete with the air doctrine. No, we've got a few more things. That is interception detection. Doesn't really make a difference. I'm just going to complete it, just so we have that done. So the battlefield support doctrine is now completed. We don't need to worry about it anymore. And how is it looking in our air wings here? Yeah, we're starting to degrade quite noticeably again against the superior German numbers, unfortunately. Well, although not much, but it still doesn't. We still can't keep up with production. All right, we've got. We can also reinforce back the which one was it? The 13th Army, right? We pulled some troops of them. No, actually, the 13th has sufficient. I thought I pulled some troops of the 13th. I might misremember. I thought I pulled some troops of the 13th. Where are we going to put the? Okay, these troops are now making their way to the front lines in Khartoum. Where are we putting the additional divisions? There is regular infantry at this point, so I might. We could send them. We could send them to the east because this army might need a bit of reinforcements here as well. So maybe we'll assign them to the 4th Army in the east for now. So that also means that the rest of these troops can go to the 4th Army, and we're building up a bit of an eastern force just in case, because we are starting to run a little thin here. These are just some old cavalry divisions that are sitting there. So having a few more slightly capable troops might not be a bad choice. Now, obviously, at some point we might need them on the other side, but I think we have sufficient troops at this point. What we're lacking is Air Force and obviously the armored units. And the armored units are still very short on heavy tanks. So we've got 2 divisions that are getting equipped, but the overall production of the RV1s is it's lacking. That's simply because we need more factories, but we're getting there. New factories are under construction, and we're making our way through the last remaining or through the supply upgrades as well. New cruiser has been launched of the Admiral Ushakov class, the Vice-Admiral Popov, and with that we are now beginning in earnest the modernization of the capital ships, and hopefully at some point we might be able to build a few new ones as well. So these assaults here keep being costly for the attackers along the front lines, but they're still throwing men and material at us in all directions. So while that is the case, we'll defend on the ground as much as we can possibly, because the problem is the cycling. So they keep cycling troops from all 3 directions that they can use to attack here. All right, the French Republic appears to have dealt with their African uprisings. The Germans not so much just yet. So the situation in Kenya is still getting a little wonky. But it appears we're pushing them back from Khartoum. So we've got some troops that are still coming in, but it looks like Middle Africa is being pushed back. Now the interesting question is, this is our furthest supply position. So from there on, we could operate south, or we could try to just push back. The problem is that eventually we'll be running out of supply here because there's literally none. So the question will be more strategic. How are we going to deal a blow to Middle Africa? And I'm almost thinking that it would make sense to make our way towards local supply positions near the coast, and see if we can link up with native rebels in Kikuyu land, and see if we can help them to retake Mombasa, and then potentially cut off Dar es Salaam as well, That would give us a relatively good staging ground towards the better supplied routes. And there's some railway routes here that we could use, rather than trying to go through the Central African area where there's literally no supply. So fighting there would be rather difficult. So that's probably going to be where we're pushing. But for now, we'll try to get the troops onto the ground. And the Socialist Republic of Italy appears to have either conducted a naval landing, or they have managed to once again expand their territorial holdings in the French Republic. The French are severely struggling with suppressing these uprisings here, while the Italians have been beaten back everywhere else, and La Spezia and Florence are under assault. They have not managed to stamp out that resistance. So it's quite interesting to see. All right, it looks like we may have been pushed back from our position here. So we are immediately sending in reinforcements. Yeah, that's the problem. Is if no matter how many divisions you have in a province, if the divisions on site are actually losing the fight, then the reinforcements won't do anything, but will just retreat. So we do have to, I would have to be careful. Operation Yekaterina clearly has ground itself down at this point, and we will need a new operational plan for the eventual defeat of the Reichspakt. But for now, we're trying to get all the divisions back onto the front lines. The tanks in the area are holding the line against the enemy, but of course nobody's dug in at this point. We were bringing in reinforcements. And how is the air situation? Still stark. So we're as you can see, we're definitely losing ground, because the German, despite the fact that we are destroying more German aircraft than we're losing, we're just not keeping up with the production. So we're still short. How many factories? 23 factories. So we've got the next factory coming up in September. Yeah, so 2 more factories coming in September. And obviously, once we are through the supply lines, then the situation there will be slightly better as well. But that said, we're not going to be able to sustain this air war forever. So we will have to ground the Air Force again, simply because they will otherwise be reduced to combat ineffectiveness. And this also obviously affects the seniority of our pilots. Yemen has declared war on Muscat, Yemen is trying their luck here. Russian troops still moving in towards the front lines, but it looks like the Georgians are now on the offensive here as well. So we may actually, given now that things are secured, we may actually give them a different front line. So instead, we might no, not an offensive line. Instead, I'm simply going to give them a new one. Instead, we will organize here in Malakal. Actually, if we seem to be holding Malakal reasonably well. I think what we can do is we can actually already move to the front south and begin planning our operations. So the idea will be to push east towards Mombasa and eventually Dar es Salaam. So that is in support of the rebels. That is the plan. See if we can cut off and destroy some of the German Middle Africa divisions, and we will bring them. Can we still take the railway there and get that sped up? Yes, we can. Still heavy attacks along the whole front line here, and we do have to keep an eye. As you've seen, these assaults are costly for Germany, but we are eventually being pushed off the lines if things go sideways. So probably I'll keep the Air Force up. I'll keep the Air Force up until we're down to 1,300, but then I might have to redirect it. towards other air zones where we are struggling as well, and where we are dealing with logistics bombings from the Reichspakt. So still defensive, still holding on. How are the light tanks? Light tanks, yep, down to minus 400. Estimated 2 months. Well, that is obviously, given that we have them now on the front lines, somewhat predicated differently. But they should be more efficient in holding the lines and pushing back the enemy faster. The big problem is that we don't do enough damage. It's not the defense. The defense is fine. The problem is the damage, because they keep cycle charging. So they keep launching new assaults with fresh divisions, because they have multiple vectors for attack, whereas we only have one position to defend from. And that means our divisions do not get any opportunity to recover, whereas the Germans always have opportunities to launch new assaults, and eventually they're wearing us down. Just a quick look if we see any armored attacks. There is von Kluge here, but I'm mostly seeing the Austrians. I wonder if they have once more. No, that's where the medium tanks are. So they're once more going for Odessa. Okay, yeah, they're going for Odessa again, but I don't think they'll get through the bridges near Odessa, because they don't have the air support in Ukraine. They don't have enough air to force that. So they're trying against Odessa, but they're not getting anywhere in Odessa. It's the northern flank here, which is more difficult to hold. We have more ace pilots than we know what to do with, but we do need 100. We need 75 political power to run the. So let me actually re-enable these to run the radio propaganda. Actually, 100 will almost be better, because that gives us. War support is rapidly dwindling from the enemy bombing campaigns. So I think that is actually something we might need to deal with, because they're bombing infrastructure in Belarus with impunity, and we can't let them do that, because that is going to significantly degrade the support the support we have at home. So let's bring the air wings over. And we will support Belarus and deal with these bombing campaigns, because it is having a significantly detrimental effect on. So let's get everybody on that air zone. All right, there we go. Nope, everyone on the Belarusian air zone. Bring up the aircraft. We should have reasonably decent air detection, and here we actually also have the numerical superiority. So. That obviously now exposes the northern air zone once more, but they don't have any bombers there for now. So while they do have, they can run strafing attacks. This is more sustainable for us to. Run, and this will become costly for them in bombers, and eventually might force them to bring additional fighters to the theater. And hopefully put a stop to the bombing campaigns for now. And that is that. But yeah, overall, we're firmly on the defensive. We're slowly inching towards an improved, slowly inching towards finishing the fortifications in the north. These are the last 2 fortifications that we're dealing with here. But to finish this line, but obviously they're constantly under attack, so it's difficult to finish the fortification works while that's the case. Okay, we've put what we could there. Are my troops? Yes. Okay, so our troops have arrived on the front lines in Africa, and they're beginning to plan now. So once these divisions are, and we may actually make sense to concentrate them more here. No, they're still holding Kenya, so I'm thinking of striking like this and encircling and destroying these divisions here. Yeah, that might actually make sense. Let's focus our assault into the western sector, and we will see if we can we can manage an encirclement here between the rebels and the combined troops that are sitting there. But for that, first they have to get their organization back. Do we have? Yeah, we have some defense there, and the situation in Western Europe still remains stable. A very, very sustained rebellion there in the south. Madrid has fallen, and with that, I think Spain is doomed. But we do have to keep a very close eye on our defensive situation here. We only have 3 divisions on that position, but that should be sufficient. Another thing that I would want to do, because right now the divisions have, I think I mentioned that we need a support equipment for the recon companies, and then I would like to have a second line artillery in here. The problem is we don't have enough artillery for that. So production is still an issue against the vast numerical superiority that the enemy has brought to bear. And obviously, yes, once we have the heavy tank divisions there, and then we can go on counterattacks, that would help as well. So if we can push through the enemy lines here anywhere and manage to relieve the front, that would not be bad as well. But for now, we're purely defensive, simply because the material situation is not conducive. We have to keep an eye that they're not bringing bombers over there. Oh yeah, they've seen the threat to their bombers and brought the air force in. And they brought the bombers now to Ukraine, which means that we might have to play a little bit of a few games of cat and mouse here with the Germans, and instead relocate towards. Do we have a larger airbase in Ukraine? We do. Relocate the air force to Ukraine, and then because they're. Again, once the German fighters come in, there's not an awful lot we can do. But if they can bomb with impunity over Ukraine, and we can start shooting these down, that would be significantly beneficial. We just have to keep an eye on the rest of the air zones. And still, obviously, we're starting to lose ground here numerically quite rapidly. So overall, Air Force gets degraded. But chasing down German bombers in order to prevent a further loss of war support is important as well, because the bombing campaigns are not filling the home front with confidence. All right, we have 4 divisions in place, and I think we have an opportunity here to just march, because these 2 divisions are completely weakened. So we'll break through here. We'll leave the 143rd behind, and then we will try to encircle and destroy the 3 divisions that are there in the mountains in the east. Let's see if we can manage to cut them off before they get there. I did send aircraft here, I believe. Yes, I did, but yeah, far away. So there's not an awful lot that they're going to be doing here in Africa. We might be able to do something on the eastern coast here if we get in range, but yeah, close air support not particularly effective in Africa. All right, it's keeping an eye. Yeah, we're getting panzer divisions again, so that is causing additional trouble. Kenya. Okay, Kikuyu, that is unfortunate. Kikuyuland has capitulated. They looked stable just a minute ago. They must have taken Nairobi. That, of course, unfortunately means that we can't easily. Well, now we have to deal with Kenya ourselves, because Kenya is part of the Reichspakt. So Reichspakt has secured the eastern flank. Well, that means we'll deal with Kenya first then, and we will see if we can. We'll still attempt to encircle and destroy the enemy troops here, but they are unfortunately escaping by the looks of it before we can march into place. But we'll try to at least catch the Askari Gebirgsjäger division from Middle Africa and see if we can get that destroyed. Now, air war over Europe once again becomes critical. Yeah, they're still running the bombing campaign over Ukraine and Belarus, not so much in the north. Belarus, this is unfortunately more of the strategic bombing campaign, where they are looking to destroy our infrastructure, which is causing a rapid degradation of war support. But we're almost at 75 political power. I might actually go up to 100, simply because that gives me double. And we are shooting down enemy aces, which is good. But that gives me double the effect. How long is this actually running? Oh, this is instant, yeah. So this would give me 5. This would give me 10 for just 25 more political power. So we'll keep it up, and then we'll get the base up by 10. We can always run the campaigns to counter the impacts there. But yeah, we are going to need to do something about the incessant German bombing campaigns here. And I really don't want to start wasting. In industrial power for static air defense much more, other than securing the Kiev land warfare facility. How's the assault in Odessa coming along? It looks like their Guderian's panzer divisions are not getting anywhere. So that is, they're trying to crush Odessa itself, but they're not really getting. They're getting pushed back with heavy losses on their side. And the syndicalists are spreading again in southern France. Florence, La Spezia has fallen. Florence still stands, so the Italians are still holding as well. And we do have to. The Germans have sent a panzer division to Africa to counter us. That is potentially trouble, but right now we are fighting in the south here against a large number of enemy troops, by the looks of it. So we keep interrupting their troop movements, trying to break through their lines and cut off some of their divisions. And once we manage that, we are actually going to have an opportunity. There we go. We're going to have an opportunity to use the momentum to cut them off, because I don't believe that they can. I'm not sure if they can cross this. It might be a lake that they can't cross. So that would be something. Anyway, European front, just have a look at the northern position and make sure that it isn't falling. But even the tanks are now coming under increased pressure here. They simply don't give up. Well, we'll look at that in a minute. The Indian Federation would like to send us some fighters. We'll take it. I'm not sure what the models are that they're going to be sending, but we shall see. We've got the TOZ, which we're using for the rifles, and there I don't know how many we still actually have left. I think we're almost done with them. We can't take. We'll take the heavy mortar strike package, because I think that's the only one we can actually take at this point. And then I thought these only went to. Do they go up to 11? I thought. Sorry, that was 9. That was level 9. Yeah, they go up to 10. So that'll be the last. That'll be the final one, and then we can start spending. We can start spending the points on the medals. The problem is that the medals are resetting the organization, which is always less than suitable. I wonder. Okay, how is this? This is all one province. Yeah, this is all Memel, but they can assault us here from here as well. Now this is behind a river, obvious. I didn't know that this was actually this. This is a really weird setup with these provinces here. I didn't know that the East Prussian province here could actually launch direct attacks here. I would have thought that Memel was in between, but that's why we have so many problems, because they have 3 provinces from which they can attack us, and I think the decision would be radio propaganda. Yeah, we'll save that. They have 3 provinces from which they can attack us. Have we? And we've still not gotten the fortification done. All right, back to the air war. Sorry if this is a bit tedious, by the way. I know you all want to see massive massive offenses and victories, but this wasn't supposed to be easy. This was supposed to be difficult. So this is by intent. We're holding the line and we're doing damage, but what's our mission efficiency here? But that's as good as it is. I might actually. Do I have 20? I have 20. Yeah, let's get additional ground crews in for the 100% mission efficiency and start shooting them down. This was meant to be difficult. So we're holding, but as you can see, it's not an easy hold by far, and we do have to be very careful with breakthroughs here, because if they take this position here in Samogitsia, then things might get interesting. All right, improved engine has completed. This gives us a bit of progress towards the land warfare, but we still need to get that up, I believe, to 3 for the land cruiser. Yes. But that said, I did mention that I probably want to. The problem is we're so short, we're so behind on naval tech. So even if I design a new battleship, it's going to have outdated equipment. So I would like to take the improved heavy hull and design a new battle cruiser, but we're not even having the dual purpose secondaries, so we would need the 380 millimeter cannons. We would need and we would need sort of we could probably make do without these, but I would want to have 380 mil guns on these. So we would need two tech steps before we can do this. Do we have anything else that is super urgent? This is still ahead of time. Not much though. So that might actually be interesting. These kind of start to, we kind of start to need to have to focus on these a bit more. The engineers would be useful. We do need research towards land warfare techs. So we've got one here. Suvorov series we've still got 2 running, so that should be all right. Industry techs are still. I could do some of these, but they might actually be beneficial towards rubber as well. So that'd be something. Advanced radio actually be really useful at this point because of coordination and reinforce rates. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We'll leave 2 on naval tech because this has such a long run up, because it'll take a long time to actually build new capital ships. So it'll have a long run up. We'll research the improved heavy hull, but we still, and we'll get the other techs done, and then we'll see if we can get a slightly improved battle cruiser underway. But that is for a very future tech, and the rest of it concentrates more on things that we actually need right now. So counterattacks here without tanks are going to be almost impossible. Pushing them out of Memel would be very beneficial. That said, we have a good number of mountain divisions, and they have seized the assaults in the north. So one thing we could try here is we could concentrate armored divisions here, plan an assault into Memel, and see if we can relieve them that way. So we would get the 9th Mountaineers on the same mission. I'm not sure that worked because, like I said, this is a very weird. There we go. That should have worked. And it says no divisions. Okay. And I can't assign them to the. Yeah, I can't assign them because that. Okay, so we'll have to. I'll do it. I'll do it off camera because it's going to take a while with this really weird province. But the basic idea is to get the mountain divisions. The reconstituted 14th and what's left of the 6th Army for a push into Memel and to try and retake Memel. Memel does have slight fortifications, so the 14th and it's but Memel is a plains province. It doesn't count as urban. So the 14th can lead the charge, and we may be able to push the Germans back there. So I'll try to set that up. All right, so the setup, they'll just have to begin planning. The consideration is here that if we can retake Memel, This will relieve the position here somewhat, and we might be able to do it with the light tank divisions. Well, if we're committing the light tank divisions that we have available to us. We will need the railway artillery a little bit closer, so we'll get that over there, and we'll obviously need the Air Force in. But for now, they're shooting down enemy bombers. Although Belarus is more under under threat here. But we'll wind them down as much as we can over Ukraine. Then we might focus. We can't really do anything about Belarus, but we can take the. We should have the Air Force ready for an offensive in the Baltic states. So we'll do that. I do have to keep an eye on the African situation though. It's because we're running out of supply here, obviously, and we have finished the advanced flamethrower. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Supply. Yes, we need to motorize supply. Is that, yes, that fixes it. Okay, so the 143rd, I'm actually going to give this a shortcut. We'll give the 143rd is going to hold this position while the rest of them is trying to encircle these troops in the north there. But it is slow going, so we'll have to see how that goes. Anyway, advanced flamethrower module is finished, so I'm going to have to redo the flame tank. And I am now going to... we don't have much recon. We are using the maintenance company for the light tanks, so that would make sense. MPs obviously for suppression, but I don't think we have much. We do have a fair amount of troops in garrison, but currently, yeah, it's 15,000 infantry equipment that is tied in there, but we have no shortage on rifles, I believe. Yeah, we're good on rifles, so that's not a problem. So I don't necessarily need to improve them that much just yet. Field hospitals might be interesting simply because it helps with the war support protection, which is one of our major problems at this point. So I might spin that in early because that is giving us another 10% war support protection. And infantry equipment, what are we using them? IMZ and LUDs. Let's have a quick look. What are we using them for? So the there we go. IMZ is support equipment, and I don't even know that we're using the other one for anything. Oh no, we do for the trucks. Okay, so it's support equipment or trucks. Where can we have the most benefit in the support equipment? We can, production of output cost, yeah, support equipment is the biggest problem, so let's do that. Field hospitals on the support equipment side. And that also means that we now need to review our heavy flame tanks, the KHT 100s. That is still the older tank model. Not necessarily seeing that we might actually get a new flame tank model out. Do we have a shortage of flame tanks? Where are they? Heavy flame tank. No, we're actually good on heavy flame tanks. So I think what we can do is we can do a full modernization of the flame tank module. So let's have a quick look. We've got the KHT 100 flame tank, which got diesel engines, 39 armor, and the regular flamethrower with a fixed superstructure and not much else. Let's see if we can get a modernized version of that going. All right, here we have the RV10 heavy flame tank. This is a slightly different model than the KHT 100. It is not particularly fast, but it doesn't need to be because it's mostly used as infantry support, and we are dealing with infantry with an infantry tank design here. So that thing overall has improved soft attack, and it has better armor and significantly better breakthrough. It does need a bit more fuel, but other than that, is a definite improvement. So let's save that. And then we will change the, well, we'll change the KHT-100. I do have to reopen that. So the KHT-100 will be replaced by the RV-10. That is going to take a while for the factories to figure out the conversions, but we are now going to start seeing improved heavy flame tanks, which is good. We do have, yeah, I'm still waiting for 100 because we are getting to the point where I'm going to eventually see that impacting. What do we have? Yeah, I think we're getting relatively close to the point when that will start impacting stability if the war support goes too low. The other problem is the conscription, because so is it the conscription or is the no? It's the mobilization. So well, we're still on war economy, but if the war support goes too low, then that'll become a problem. All right, troops are moving here. And we do need to keep an eye still on the situation in the north, where we are now moving troops towards a counterattack against Memel to relieve the embattled bridges here in the center that just can't catch a break. And we will see if we will see if that. But there is a large number of enemy troops there. The biggest question is, can we supply them? But I think we can. We've still got 2 bases here, from which we can supply. So I think we'll be all right in terms of supply. And they are running a few uncoordinated attacks against the lines, but the heavy assaults are happening here. And yeah, we're just not completing the fortifications due to constant attacks. All right, we're starting to shoot down a fair number of bombers over Ukraine, and obviously with no fighters to support them, that has allowed our air force to actually reconstitute somewhat. We're still having bombing over Belarus, but we will move them north for the assault to clear out the airspace. The German tanks are not making any progress towards Odessa. And the Russian Auftragstaktik has completed, which gives everything plus 5% org and 3% reinforcement. That is significant. So if we're looking at our templates, our mainstay guards infantry now has 52 org. That was like 48 or something before that, I believe. So that is a very useful. And now we can get 10% coordination out as well with the unity of doctrine. That would be amazing too. However, do we have something on the air still? This is still air superiority bonus in combat. That would be good as well. This would give us. This doesn't really give us much. This would be more. I already have more aces than I know what to do with, but 15% air superiority bonus would be good. Do we have anything here? This is for heavy aircraft. And then yeah, this is all like long range stuff. I also do need, now that we are starting to look at the naval situation, I do at some point need to. I want to do this as well. Quick look over here. What did we have over here? This would be infantry and support equipment production cost. Yeah, I think that's the next one. Let's do that. Because we also have a new rifle coming up with the PPSH. So the first submachine, the first assault rifle coming up. We can use the research bonus for that as well. Nothing's ideal, but we're getting there. How much longer? 70 days until the equipment conversion is done, which should speed up, hopefully, should hopefully speed up the situation here. Now, the Baltic fleet currently is, since they're refitting, not doing an awful lot. I'm almost wondering if it makes sense to split off a few cruisers for training exercises. But I think we'll figure that out in battle. It's just one ship, so I don't think it makes a massive difference. Right, so let's have a look at the situation here. Do we have to keep sending the troops back into battle because they don't necessarily come back by themselves? Any other significant assaults that we need to worry about? I think everything else is holding pretty well, but and they are starting to smell that something is up. So we are getting the occasional probing attacks against coming out of Memel now. But I think we have a chance here, despite that there are 10 German infantry divisions here. That might be, I think we might have a chance here to break that. Meanwhile, in South America, Rio de Janeiro has fallen, and with that, Sao Paulo is cut off. And I think that is probably going to go the way of Argentina. Brazilian situation appears dire, but unfortunately we can't easily send any support here unless they would ask for it, and we can't directly attack Argentina because we don't have a war goal against them. So that would take, well, it would take 30 days, but right now I believe we probably need the troops elsewhere. So a quick look down at Africa, where we have made progress. Now the question becomes: can we use the momentum to cut off the two enemy divisions here? This is all taking extremely long, but we will try to cut off and encircle these divisions in the north here, and then once we've dealt with that. We will move along the supply lines towards Nairobi. Do we have a supply up here locally? I can't quite see it, but the railways are still... Nairobi would obviously be the target. The problem obviously is supply. So the alternative... Yeah, there's no alternative. We will have to fight our way through the mountains towards Nairobi if we can. There's a supply... Oh, here's the supply hub in Kampala. It might actually be worth trying. Now there are two divisions there and they're supplied. All right. We'll try to, once we've destroyed these, we'll try to assault Kampala and see if we can take that supply position. Even though it's not connected, it might still give us some localized supply. And we are planning a new offensive against Memel that. Once all the troops are in place, I'll just wait for the planning stage to complete, and then we will launch that. So hopefully next episode, we're going back on the offensive in a localized counterattack, trying to relieve the ferocious assaults against our lines here, and do send the tanks back in. Let's have a quick look on how on what the losses were. So overall, actually, we just look at it here. So Russian losses are still very manageable. German losses are approaching 2 million against Russia. The United States of Greater Austria are already across 1 million as well. So we are beyond 1 to 10 in that ratio, and we're now starting to inflict some losses against them in Africa as well. So with that grind and the repeated insurgency of socialist troops in southern France, interestingly enough, the International is not yet defeated. The Union of Britain holds. They have plenty of naval action around the home islands, and I'm not sure if the Americans will eventually join that. Ireland is in the Entente, so they do have a port here from which to launch, but for now Britain remains uninvaded, and Western Europe still holds on. German East Asia has not made any progress out of Rangoon, so that hasn't helped. That hasn't really worked for them, and Japan, as we have seen, is more or less a bit stuck.